It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. We're a little bit early today, a couple hours early, because we have a very important event to do with the Warriors, with Mrs. L, which I'll tell you about later. So thank you so much for joining us right now. Let me remind you that you are to immediately follow and subscribe to Lynn's Warriors to find out what's going on. If you want to get a grasp of the horrors of the world that are never talked about, because we remember, nobody really talks about this, maybe Tom Homan, but regarding the predation of children, it is something that is just not discussed for reasons I shan't understand perhaps ever. In any event, my friends, a lot to go about, but let me explain to you what happens in my particular mindset. Sometimes a story will hit me. Sometimes a story, something will, I think, fascinate me. Something which is very interesting, very, very, for lack of a better word, just kind of a surprise. I didn't think it'd be that interesting, but it is. I've got a lot to say about the president, how he's doing what he should be doing. A lot of mistakes, I think, that are being made by the administration, but we'll talk about that later. Because, I mean, after all, remember, it is now the actually going on the 52nd day, technically speaking, of the president's inauguration, or since he's been in office. But I have been fascinated by this Michelle Obama. And I'm fascinated by it in terms of a lot of things. A million questions. Isn't it interesting how people will all of a sudden come up with this idea that I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to do it because, well, I'm just going to do it. And you don't know how it's going to be received until you do it. It's that simple. It's one of those things that you just have to kind of do it to see how it will be, how it will be received. And by the way, we're going to be talking about the border thing, but since I arranged that, we're talking about this. So let me explain this. So people think like, well, it's a natural thing. The closest thing I've ever seen to this was in the 80s, maybe, when everybody wanted to be, you might remember this, a comedian. Everybody thought they could be a comedian. Or they stood in front of a brick wall. They were in ha-has, yucky-yucks, evening at the Improv, evening at this, And I remember, did a proliferation of I did, what am I saying? I did a proliferation of stand-up comedy, well, whatever, years ago. And I was immersed in it. And people found that, it was just this thing to do. And I don't want to say who was funny and who's not, because that's one of those things it's hard to say what is. Anyway, so today people are saying, I'm going to do a podcast. So Michelle Obama is a very troubled person. All of her books, listen to what she says. If you're interested, I am, because I just am. I told you there are things that are just interesting to me. My good friend Anthony Cumia is in this blood battle with his ex-partner Opie, and it's like two exes, like not in Anthony's part, but it fascinates me. I don't know why. I've always found interpersonal things funny and interesting. I like, if I were to go to your house for Christmas, you can see that. That's my Aunt Margot. No, Margot hates this one. I love that stuff. I don't know why. It's interpersonal. So, Michelle Obama always felt that she never really got the attention she needed. She never really got the attention she needed. She wasn't taken seriously. She wasn't, by God, she's the talented one. She's the talented one. Always second to Barack, second to him. Here was a person, if you believe the story, he came to her for a job at some law firm or something, and she was always second. You know how that is. That's the Hillary Clinton thing. Hillary Clinton is very smart, might be smarter than Bill Clinton, but he was more personable, better politician. Okay. Second, read her books. I'm not going to read them, but technically read them, theoretically read them. Read what she has to say about herself. Finding myself. Finding who I am. Be who you are. Be who you. Find who you. Accept yourself. Most people, I can only speak for me. I don't think have this as a problem. I don't think people are walking around with all the stuff that we have to worry about in the world, finding out who we are, what do we think, do we know each other? No, maybe. I don't know anybody. Most people are worried about legitimate, bills and family and health and life and things that nobody said, but I don't know who I am. It sounds like she always sounded to me like that weird people who kept journals. Anybody who keeps journals, that. But I don't mean like today I had tuna fish. That's one thing. As opposed to, I don't know who I am. Oh my God. It's a sign of complete and total mental illness. Anyway, that's who she is. So finally she broke away. What secrets does she know? What fraud has she maintained? Do you ever hear her talk about children? Do you ever hear him ever talk about the two daughters? Ever. In any context. Here we are together. As my daughter told me, nothing. It's like almost like they're props. You know what I mean? It's like, isn't that just weird? Say what you want about President Trump and Melania. They talk about Barron. He talks about his kids. Their kids are apart. Say what you want about Elon. He loves his little boy. I think that's great. You always say, remember, take your daughter to work. Well, take your son to. Anyway, but you never hear him talk about anything. Never about marriage, them, family, being together, the children. It's very, very interesting. So here is this weird, and this has been creeping people out. And I love when some people don't get it. This is the part which I find interesting. This is the official piece.
Hey, it's TikTok. It's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
Look at
We're
him.
here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new podcast called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
And we just posted the trailer if you want to check it out.
Check it out. Thanks, you guys. See you soon.
Well, it is absolutely 100% a dog in terms of numbers and response. And our good friend Dom wrote, I didn't even want to put it or post it, or it was really bad. I mean, really, really bad. But the responses, you might want to turn those comments off. Why? Because as you know, the internet is just absolutely horrible. So Dom Luker has them, and you can see for yourself. I mean, you can imagine as they're speaking, these comments of the few who were watching were there, and it was something. I mean, it was something like you cannot believe. Absolutely brutal. So here's the issue that I have. Do you think she knows that? Does she know that? Could she have been so dense, so fooled and fueled by her own delusion that she thought, no, people love me. You don't understand. They love me. They want to hear what I have to say. I'm a very, very important person in a lot of people's lives. I provide a great source of inspiration to a lot of people, black and white alike, girls, young people. Oh no, they're gonna love me. I've got no reason to worry about it. Now this brother, again, remember this. This brother, where have we
TikTok,
seen him?
It's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
Where did we see this guy? And it occurred to us. Remember Titus from Kimmy Schmidt? That's terrible. Why does this creep people out so much? Why? Why does this thing creep people out? I'm going to give you one more thing, and we're not going to belabor the point unless you want to. I find this fascinating. Listen to what she said. This is what the Post picked.
I've gotten through 8 years in the White House without my big brother. That's another sort of.
I couldn't have gotten through 8 years in the White House. You are theoretically the first lady. It's considered an honor. Remember this? It's an honor to serve your country as FLOTUS. It's something that, but you're a part of history. You're a part of history. People leave their mark. I don't think Melania Trump would ever say, I couldn't have gotten through this. And look what she went through. But do you see how she is? Do you see this absolute, this, what's the word? This selfishness. Everything is viewed from her level of inconvenience.
Well, I couldn't have gotten through 8 years in the White House without my big brother. That's another sort of unusual aspect to our lives, our relationship, was this whole, being married to the president of the United States thing.
Yeah.
that none of us kind of banked on. I mean, we knew Barack was smart and, ambitious, but, I think, but you talked me into supporting his run.
I did.
You talked me into supporting my husband's run. Do you hear this? You talked me. Do you find this fascinating? I do. How incredible for her to say that. I'm going to do a piece later on it. I just am again, certain things I say, I hope I want to be like your tour guide. I want to say, I want you to pay attention to this. This is an incredible thing, because this latest venture into the podcast world, which everybody seems to think you can do, and you can. Let me just say something about that right now. There is one, and I could go through this. The question is, do you like it? Yes. Ta-da! It's a great podcast. Do you like it? Yes. Ta-da! Is it great? Do you like it? Does the person have a radio broadcast voice? No. Is that a great looking set? No. But you like it. I can tell you a number of them that I never miss. They always say, have a good set. Make sure you have lighting, and well, lighting's always nice, but everybody has that kind of that purple background light. Have you ever seen Mearsheimer? Mearsheimer sits there in this one room of his, I think he lives in Chicago. He's got the one picture. He never moves. You got to sit there and say, is this frozen? Is this? He blinks. It's this white wall. He's the most fascinating person ever. But on paper, you say, that's not very photogenic, or whatever it is. I don't know. You don't know how these things work. There's a connection. There's a connection. And it's very weird too. Have you ever felt, and this might be probably the most bizarre. When you're interviewing somebody, sometimes you feel like they're talking to each other and you're intruding, or sometimes you're listening in to a group and you're a friend. I know that sounds weird and hard to explain, but there's a degree to that. So anyway, if it works, that's terrific. But this is an exercise in what can be called forced nostalgia, self-congratulation, weird, bizarre family dynamics, and also some of the strangest people. But here is the thing. You are immediately processing so much stuff. Let me explain something to you. I was listening to, again, a great show, Joe Rogan. Why? I why is Macaroni and Cheese? Because it is. It's a great show. Is it technically great? I don't know what technically great means, but I mean, they go for hours and they don't take breaks. And this would be, there would be some program director coming and saying, now I want you to make sure you set up who your guests are. And Joe Rogan never says, hey, everybody, welcome back to the Joe Rogan Show. Everybody, make sure if you're watching us on Spotify, make sure you say hello and like our videos. And by the way, do yourself a favor. He never says that. Good. Everybody feels like they have to say that. He doesn't say that. Howard Stern never said any of this stuff. Hi, everybody. Howard Stern, but a new sports weather coming up. We'll be talking about it. Paul McCartney, George, joining us by no, all that they call it formatics. And these program directors love this stuff because they're just used to it. They don't do that anymore because he's great. So, anywho, as he was speaking the other day, it was interesting. Now look at Raul says. Raul says, damn it, I don't care what you say. Stop the flow. Will the astronauts return safely? I love that. Thank you very much. We're not talking about that, but that's okay. Will they return? I hope they do. But thank you very much. Thank you, Raul. Isn't that interesting? Excuse me. Imagine during a homily or you're at church. Excuse me. Faster? Yeah. Hate to interrupt. Off topic, but original sin. Anyhow. So Rogan was talking to Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen. They said, could you beat the chess game on your phone at the highest level? He said, absolutely not. The greatest chess player in the world ever cannot beat the chess game, highest level, whatever, on his phone. Deep Blue years ago was something else. Isn't that interesting? Work with me on this. Why do we still want to see him? Well, because he's a human. Because he's a human. And we want to see a human do this. We don't want to see a machine do it. We like weightlifting. We like world's strongest man. There are machines that can pick things up better than a human can. There's a bulldozer that can pick up more stuff. We don't want to see a bulldozer. There are cheetahs and animals and cars that can run faster than people, but we don't want it. We want to see a human run. And there are some things that a machine could not pick up, like, why is this so creepy? Why is this guy, Craig Robinson, so creepy? What is it? What is creepy? Work with me on this. Have you ever heard of something called the Uncanny Valley? Not Rudy Valley, Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley, let me give you the exact definition of it. It predicts that an entity appearing almost human will risk eliciting eerie feelings in viewers. It's robotics. This is where you get closer and closer to things looking human. This explains why clowns are scary to people. It's called coulrophobia. And the reason why is the Uncanny Valley. For example, you say, here's an R2-D2. Oh, I like him. He doesn't look like it. Oh, here's C-3PO. Okay. Danger Will Robinson. Okay, I can dig that. I like him. Okay. Now let's go to C-3PO. Okay. Now he's looking kind of more like us. All right. Is C-3PO loving? No. R2-D2 is. The more you get human, and then you get into this, and then it gets okay, and then it gets really creepy, and then it gets okay again. And we don't know where that is. People are like that. A computer couldn't figure out creepy. A computer couldn't figure out this. Uncanny Valley. A computer can't act human. You can try all you want. You can program all you want. A computer can't pick out those things that are kind of groovy, like a trend. Like a computer can't say, all of a sudden, tattoos are cool. Why? They just are. Computer can't figure that out. Humans do that. A computer, AI, I don't think can figure out which maybe what makes somebody connect. Why does Michelle Obama creep us out? Why does her brother creep? He doesn't. Barack Obama doesn't. It's not black. Maxine Waters doesn't. Crockett does. No, you don't say, ugh. You just may not like them or what they say. There's something weird. It's almost alien-like. I am going to tell you my theory of what is the most the reason. Okay? And this is my thought, and this you're going to say this is petty. This is you're being mean. I'm not being mean. I'm being anthropomorphic. Why? It's the reason why you got to look at people and you have to say, what is it about them that makes people okay or not? Do you know the woman from, remember the woman, what was her name? This woman, hang on, you don't even know what I'm talking about. So how would you know that? Jacinda Ardern. She was the Prime Minister of New Zealand. What was it that made people, if you covered her mouth up and looked at her, you say, okay, this looks like a regular person. Looks okay. Show me her mouth, show me her teeth, and people ran the other way. What makes people repel from both Michelle and her brother is their mouth, teeth. I know it sounds crazy. You're saying, wait a minute. And the reason for it is I believe it goes back to almost something atavistic in terms of development, because this is what separates one animal from the next, one ferocious from the next. It's what makes people Jacinda Ardern. The old joke is she looks like she could eat an apple through a tennis racket, or M&Ms through a picket fence or something. There's something that is extremely interesting about it, because there's nothing about Michelle Obama that there's nothing wrong with her. Her side, so what? Oh, she's big. A lot of women are big. A lot of athletes are big. That's not it. There's something. I'm telling you. I think there are some things about people that I think sometimes eyes do. Look at why Mitch McConnell scares people. Why? Because he comes across as dead. There is something that is in us that we don't like talking to people that we believe are dead. We don't like dead people. I know it sounds weird. Flat affect. There's something around people on spectrum disorders. What bothers us about this is that sometimes they're not obtrusive. They don't make a lot of noise. Some aren't, or some aren't. We don't like that. We respond to things. So do you think we could ever ask AI to figure this thing out? I don't know. What was it that Jimmy Carter, that scared? His smile, the rictus, the mouth. It's one of those things which is the most fascinating. Isn't it interesting when somebody gets teeth? Have you seen what happened to when Keith Richards changed his mouth by virtue of all this appliance work? I know this sounds bizarre. I know you're thinking, they always talk about, aside from this, there is something which is very, very interesting about her and why people respond so negatively to her. And then when I looked at the brother, it's him, it's her, it's the face. There's something. I don't know what it is. I personally don't care one way or the other. I'm always trying to figure out, why is this okay? What is it that makes us, why are people lured so much so to Donald Trump? What is it? What was it about him? What was it that made people just, that I'm still trying to figure this one out. I don't know. The way people react to it. When you see Melania, do you feel warm? Or do you say like, well, that's a nice woman, or that's an attractive woman, or that's a noble woman? Do you feel warm? Not really. But that's not the point. Why? Why? What was it about people? How do they react? How is it? What is this story? What is the way they act? How I am fascinated by, and I will never, ever, ever be allowed. I talk about this on private channels. We believe that we are a racially open society. If people said, isn't it great that we elected a black man, Barack Obama? If Barack Obama was another black man, same qualities, looked different, just looked different, maybe sounded different, maybe darker, taller, shorter. Don't kid yourself. There's something that people find themselves attracted. There's something. And most of the time it has nothing to do with rational thought. Remember these 5-minute, I've never seen them. I've never been a part of it. I heard about them. They used to be called either 60-second dating or something, where you walk in, sit down, talk, go to the next table. And in 60 seconds, people would say, this one, no, yes, no. And it had nothing to do with what you thought, color, hair, height, or no, something connected. You've seen this. Do you have a spouse? Do you have somebody in your life, your spouse, that you said on paper, I don't know if on paper Mrs. Ellen and I would have, I don't know, but we did spiritually. But you can't, what do you like? I don't know. We can sit down and say, yes. This is the part of our psychology which fascinates me. It's, yes, it's a part of her. Why do people, what does she evoke in people? What is it about her? I don't understand it. I don't know anybody else who just immediately, there's something about her. I don't understand it. And you might say, well, it's this and that. No. I think there's something, they look almost ferocious. There's something odd, something strange. This woman, this Ardern, people, whenever people say, oh my God. Maybe. I'm always trying to figure, do you believe that will there ever be a really short president? Probably not. How about a fat president? Maybe, but older. Maybe. I don't know. I think we're kind of getting away from that. A president with a mustache, facial hair, J.D. Vance. That's a big deal. Big deal. Huge. Facial hair. Wow. What about a woman with facial hair? Anyway. I'm fascinated by this, as you can tell. The next thing I'm fascinated by, I know that was a rather elongated version of this, is the fact that there are so many good things going on. And I want to ask you a question. Do you believe that we are getting the message? Do you believe that the president is strong enough in his message? Is he doing the most? Is he doing the best that he can? Are the Republicans putting the word out enough? I say no. I saw one thing that Pete Hegseth is doing, which is terrific. Going back and looking at strength requirements, physical fitness, and that sort of thing. I like that. I don't believe we're getting the message out enough. I see we're kind of, sort of slipping a little bit. Biden said, this is today's topic, let them in, Trump kick them out. Right now, you have to remind everybody that in 52 days or whatever, the president basically staunched, depending upon where you're from, the flow of illegals into our country. This is the biggest thing ever. No big border, no big, gates and fences and walls and none of that. Think about it. It wasn't people who couldn't, wow, we have a fence now, a gate. No. A wall. No. By the way, that's a very important thing. In Israel, when I was there, they had a very, very interesting distinctions between fences, walls, gates. A gate sounds like it's open, doesn't it? A gate is something that's open. Fences aren't open. Walls are. Walls sound big and fortified. A fence, you can see through. It sounds weird, but in your mind, AI can't figure out the distinctions from all these things. But a gate is something, it opens. That's why it's called a gate. So at the time, there were this group would call it a fence, this would call it a wall. This is the president's number one. Tom Homan, I think, is probably the greatest asset he has is Tom Homan. Tom Homan gets the message across. And Tom Homan says, I'm not on some TV show yelling at some whatever person. That's not my thing. I'm here dealing with people who are in charge. I'm here talking to people who are in charge, who can make a difference. I'm here in Albany. I'm confronting people. Tom Homan is the most important person there is. Tom Homan is doing it perfectly. Tom Homan has got to remind people this message. They have stopped coming in. And when I say stop, everybody comes in. It is for all practical purposes. Let's go and talk to Texas. Remember those Texas border people who would have illegals just pouring over into their homes and remember that? It was incredible. Remember they had these people. And what did they say? I don't know how to stop these people. Now ask them. They're gone. Victory. Already 50 days, victory. Declare victory. Whether there is or isn't, declare victory. Number one, declare victory. This is the thing. Look how easy I did it. Look how easy I did it. Look, they're not here. You don't keep people out with a wall. You keep people out with policy. You keep people out with law enforcement. Don't get hung up on a wall. That sounds great. There's no wall in Canada. There's no wall. Most of the places, there aren't walls. And if you build a 10-foot wall, they build a 12-foot ladder. You know that whole story. That's it. Number two, the biggest advice I can give you right now. This is to Pam Bondi, a great person, an old friend. And I think she is great. Do something drastic regarding Epstein. Subpoena, indict Les Wexner. Charge somebody. Charge Dershowitz. Do something. Something to make it look like you've done something. Turn over the goddamn list. Even though it's a waste of time. What are you doing? Turn over whatever it is they're asking for. Turn it over. It doesn't matter. Turn it over. Now. What are you waiting for? I don't understand this. They're screaming for this. Immediately, people are calling Pam Bondi a fraud, and she's not. What are you talking about? It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Give them what they want. They want a list? Give them a list. They want the magic. They want the black book. Whatever it is. What do you care? Whatever blackmail, or give the list and leave out the ones you are milking now. Maybe we're using them right now. I don't know. This is an unforced error. This is an unforced error. Next, Elon has to change and focus on what it is we're doing. We loved the novelty. We loved the black hat. We loved the kid. I'm telling you, the Tesla thing, stupid. Stupid. I don't know what we're doing. We're doing a car lot now. I don't know what this is. This is ridiculous. Enough. He is a wealth. He is a perfect person. Start getting serious. Start explaining. Here is what we did. Here is USAID. Here is what we do. Here is this and that. That's it. Critical. Absolutely critical. Next, Bobby Kennedy is wasting his time talking about bullshit. I don't know what he thinks he's talking about. It's important, but he's acting like he used to be when he was a guest. Do you want to see what I'm saying? Starred says, Charlie says, I don't want a list. I want indictments. You're not going to get indictments. You're not going to get indictments. It's over. It's done. And the reason why, most of the people do not want to go to court. You have to have willing, upset. Have you seen the Andrew Tate people? I think they've been paid off too. Some people say, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. How are you going to get an indictment? Charlie, I know you love that. What are you going to do? Get a woman to come in and come on. You're going to bring it. Oh, no. I'm behind me. I'm kids. I got married. No. Plus, I already settled. No. No. How many cases do you think there were involving minors? Fewer than you think. Most of it was consensual. It's not what you think. Charlie, work with me. You're talking about something else. They want a list, give them a list. Whatever they want. You want a black book? Here. Is this black book? Here you go. Here's your black book. You happy? We did it. Ta-da! That's nothing. You want a list? Here's another list. I'll give you another list. You want a flight manifest? Here's a flight manifest. You already know this. This is called a limited hangout. This is called you already knew this. You already were aware of this. You already knew this. But you think it's something new. I don't understand this. Let me say it again. Pam Bondi, you said we're going to have this by such and such. Okay, bad move. Give them something. Deliver them. Don't hand them out in binders to DC Drano. Don't do that. Here they are. Boom. Next. Give them another one and another one and another one. Give them lists of, you know how they do with the JFK assassination? They give you 20,000 records that are meaningless. Here's Lee Harvey Oswald's dentist records. Okay, thank you. Here's his car rental. Okay, thank you. Here's his, what are we doing here? I don't know. Just let him have it. Let him and them have it. Let them have everything. Everything you want. That's it. Not indictments. I'm talking about people like Schiff. We'll get to people like Schiff next. We can do this, but that's going to be real tough. Real tough. But it can be done. But I'm with you on that. But there is not this clamor about Schiff. That's for you. Everybody hates Epstein. Democrats, Republicans. The name is Adam Schiff. Takes too long. Who? Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff. He was indicted. Now, There's some of the stuff that he's been rumored over the years to be involved in, which is unproven at this point. That would be a good indictment. But ask yourself, Charlie, what's the biggest thing? It's not about you. It's not inside baseball. You want to like, wow. If you don't have a big name, if it's not going to be somebody like Fauci, Fauci, absolutely. Fauci. That's the guy. Fauci. AOC, Hillary, big. If you don't have a name like that, you're wasting your time. I remember the Democrats, they indicted some poor guy who was like, not poor guy, but there was somebody who was like a nobody. Nobody ever heard of this guy. You have to make sure you have the names. Think big. You have to look at holy. So one of the things too is he's got to, Bobby Kennedy has to have hearings to say, call me up on this. They lied to you about the masks. They lied to you about this. The biggest thing also for us is take away the immunity. Take away big pharma immunity, civil immunity. They're not liable. They can put out any vaccine they want. Your arm can fall off. And they can say, well, there you go. You want this to stop? You fix it. It's like Section 230 with the CDA. Same thing. If you really want to get something. But Bobby, I don't know why you're doing this. You're into this weird kind of arcane thing. You think you're going to wow us with red dye number 4 and how Fruit Loops aren't sold in Canada. I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't understand what any of that stuff means. I really don't. It's too much. No. I want, oh my God. Think National Enquirer. Think Daily Mail. Think, how many times have you read something and you say, what is this story? The one shocking fact about Gene Hackman's death that'll blow your mind. What is it? He died alone. I know that. What am I going through this? Plus with Daily Mail, you got all this stuff and these ads and what is this? I got rid of that. I don't want this. You're not going to believe who this rocker is from the 80s. You know, that kind of clickbait stuff. You got to think clickbait. We're wasting our time. I don't know what we're doing here. Tom Homan's got it. Tom Homan's got stuff because Tom Homan doesn't waste his time. But they got somebody from agriculture or somebody talking, about a Lutnick. Lutnick's a loose cannon. He wants to talk about tariffs. And what's interesting is the president's got to explain tariffs more. Nobody understands what a tariff is. Nobody understands it. Do you? Not really. You don't? No. Does it really sound good? No. It's one of those things like it doesn't grab your attention. I'm sorry, but you might want to explain it maybe in a different way, in a different style. But that's the important thing. If ever you really want to do something, because Holman's the best one, talk about what Mrs. L talks about at Lynn's Warriors, children. She's got stories. Oh my God. Here's the best one. Forget this unaccompanied minors here. The stuff that's going on in this country will blow your mind. Who's talking about that? I guarantee you, Pam Bondi, I can fix this in a heartbeat. I don't know if she's hiding out, if they spooked her. You say, give me something that we're working on, if something involving children. Fentanyl doesn't work anymore. Fentanyl, nobody pronounces it correctly. Remember opioids? Nobody cares about that. It's old. I know you pick it up, and I know it's in the thing, and you shouldn't take that. Okay, it doesn't have its effect anymore. We're immune to that. Whatever happened to the people in where was it? Springfield or wherever they were eating cats and stuff? Whatever happened to that? Whatever. I'm serious. Let's talk. Get something that will freak these people out. Children, trans. Oh yeah. The president. I said from the beginning. Remember when I said that Joe, and I use this, Joe Biden was just an automatic pen. He was. You just put a hand and he saw. I didn't know they actually had it. Well, we knew. This has to go forward. This has to go forward. This has to be brought up. You have to be told what this means. If the president did not sign something, let me ask you something. What do you think would happen if a judge's secretary signed a warrant and not the judge? What do you think would happen? Any idea? Any clue? You've got to stop and say, let me tell you what they did. Who were the people that put bills in front of him and signed them? Mike Johnson said one time to the president, hey, I don't like what you did about such and such. And he said, what are you talking about? He said, the such and such. I don't know anything about that. Start bringing something now. Have hearings now. Pam Bondi, get on this now. Have a select. The following people, subpoena them. Grand jury. Impanel a grand jury. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is huge. Enormous. Bigger than anything anybody's ever seen. That means it's void ab initio. That means that all of those pardons aren't good anymore. If they auto-penned all those pardons, and you bring him in, you say, not only was he auto-penned, he was incompetent when he did it. He was incompetent. Oh my God. Oh my God. Flood the courts like they did with lawfare. Let me say this again. If all of those pardons are no good, Hunter, Jim Biden, the Biden family, Liz Cheney, Fauci, go down the list. They're open game. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Start to scare them. Start telling people now. Wake this thing up. You're giving them breathing room. They're feeling strong again because the president's wasting time with Tesla. Bobby's talking about French fry. Yeah, they think we're slowing down. Oh, no, turn the heat up. Turn the heat up. They all lied to you. You can't give something. You can't. There is so much stuff here. Pam Bondi, don't let another day go by. You can call a meeting like that anytime you want. You can announce anything you want. Give me something I'm working on. Anything. Let's have, what do you call them, honey, when people come, not deconstructors, detransitioners or, yeah. The number of people coming over that said, I want my life back. They stole my childhood. I never wanted to be. I didn't want to be a woman or a man. They made me. They forced me. They did it. That's what you need. You can't do this to a kid. I didn't even have a favorite color. They didn't even tell me. I didn't know anything. And I might have said like one day, I feel like a girl with a boy, whatever. I don't know. And they pushed me and pushed me. And if there is a God, and if there's something which is even more important than anything else, I would hope there would be absolutely positively a connection that is made between them and USAID. I want this to come forward. I want more than anything else to say yes. Ask yourself this question. How many people do you think in the world are naturally, actually, really trans or transgender? How many people do you think? Let's assume there's a small amount of people. Have you noticed how many people in Hollywood happen to have children who were themselves trans? What do you think? Oh, Liev Schreiber's son. What if they found out that these people were targeted by, let's just call it USAID, just for shorthand, whatever the NGO is, and that all these people go down the list of Hollywood, from Warren Beatty to this kid to Elon's kid to Brad Pitt to all of it. And what about, where were all the kids that Madonna adopted? Where are they? Do we know where they are? Are they accounted for? Do they go to school? Do they have names? Remember Mia Farrow? She had all these kids. Are they okay? I'm assuming they are. Here's one for you. How many of the Kardashians ever went to school? High school? Guess. I don't know. I don't know. My first question. Do you think Kim Kardashian went to a high school? And the reason why somebody asked me, I said, well, I would think so. Are you sure? I don't know. How many kids in Hollywood for all of these decades were the lab rats of the radical left in terms of their transgender, education, lifestyles, whatever? That would be one of the greatest Pam Bondi. I don't know who's going to go after them, HHS or whatever. But Hollywood has been a laboratory vessel for every freak show there is. Think about this, my friends. Think about this very carefully. Charlie, Calais, and Raul, thank you. Do me a favor right now and go immediately to Lynn's Warriors and subscribe. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube as we speak. Don't forget also, go to Lionel Legal, which is the sister associate channel, and also make sure you are subscribed to this as well. We will see you at the regular time this eve. Thanks for starting earlier with us today. I hope I gave you something to think about. Coming up, I'm going to break apart and break down and dissect that creepy podcast. I swear to you, there's something, I don't know what it is, but we're going to get to the bottom of that. Have a great day, my friends. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.